Well, this is a portion of the service that's planned especially for children and kids. If you're there worshiping with your mom and dad this morning, I want you to imagine that you just got called to the front to sit down by the prayer rail for a talk with Pastor, like we sometimes do in church. And I wanted to share with you a little story that I wrote that talks about what Good Friday means for us in maybe a slightly different way. And I asked one of my kids, Lane, to draw some illustrations for this. So those illustrations will be appearing on the screen as we read this story, which is called The Scruffy Little Puppy. And it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a scruffy little puppy who lived in a pet store on the corner of a busy street in the city. Scruffy little puppy was not like any of the other puppies. Sparky was full of vim and vinegar, and all the children who visited the pet store loved to play with him. But Scruffy little puppy had one lame paw and couldn't run very well. Sophie had a beautiful curly coat and wore a bow behind her ears. All the grown-ups who came to the pet store said how lovely she was, but Scruffy little puppy's coat was all ragged and tatty. No one ever took any notice of Scruffy little puppy. No one loved him, and no one wanted him. One day a man came to the pet store and told the keeper that he wanted a playful puppy for his little boy, and he was prepared to pay $15 for one. The keeper pointed out Sparky bouncing around with his ball in the shop window. "That puppy," said the keeper, "is worth $15 for sure." One day a young lady came in. When she saw Sophie's curly coat, she said she just had to have her and the keeper should name his price. The keeper said that Sophie was worth $10 at least. But nobody ever came in asking how much Scruffy little puppy was worth. No one told the keeper that they just had to have him. No one loved him, and no one wanted him. One day a nice-looking young man came to the pet store. Scruffy little puppy didn't look up from his basket, but he listened closely. "I saw that puppy with the lame paw in the window," the man was saying to the keeper. "I think I might like to have a dog like that." The keeper laughed. "You mean Scruffy little puppy?" he said. "Oh, well, he can't run very well, and his coat is pretty mangy. Let me show you some different puppies." "No," insisted the gentle young man. "I want that puppy. How much is he worth?" The keeper scratched his head. Sophie had sold for $10, Sparky for $15, but Scruffy little puppy wasn't worth anything near as much as them. "Well," he said at last, "I could give you Scruffy for about $2. That's probably a fair price." The kind-looking young man rubbed his chin. Scruffy hung his head in shame. $2 is a lot of money," he said. "But it's not enough for my Scruffy little puppy. I'll give you $100 for him." Scruffy couldn't believe what he just heard, nor could the keeper. He said, "Sold!" and put the money in the cash register before the young man could change his mind. And that was the day Scruffy little puppy went home with his new master, sold for $100. Well, months and months went by, but the keeper of the pet store never forgot the strange young man who had bought the worst puppy in the store for $100 whole. And one day, looking out the window of his shop, he saw that same young man walking past. He was holding a dog leash, and on the leash walking next to him was the finest looking dog the keeper had ever seen. The dog had a glossy gray coat. He walked with his head held high, and each step he took was so strong and graceful that you never would have noticed that he had just the faintest little bit of a limp. The keeper rushed out of the store and greeted the man. "My," he said, "that is a fine-looking dog you have there. Whatever happened to the scruffy little mutt you bought from me?" The young man looked at the keeper for just a moment, and then he laughed. "Sir," he said, "Sir, this is my scruffy little puppy. It's the same dog." The keeper was astonished. "But how?" he asked. He just couldn't believe that this fine-looking dog was the same sad-looking puppy he had sold so long ago. "Don't you see?" said the wise young man. "We are as lovely as we're told we are. If you only pay $2 for a dog, you'll get a dog worth $2. But a puppy that believes he's worth $100 will become a $100 dog. I showed Scruffy that he was worth $100 to me, and that's just what he has become." The keeper walked away scratching his head. He just didn't understand. But boys and girls, I want you to understand today that in a way what the nice young man did for Scruffy little puppy by showing him how much he was worth to him when he felt worthless, that's like what God did for us. We were like the scruffy little puppy, and Jesus is like the kind young man. Because like the man in the story who paid $100 for a puppy that no one else would even pay $2 for, Jesus gave his very life for us on the cross. When we were broken by sin and marred by selfishness, Jesus paid his very life for us so that we could be with him and so that we could know how precious we are to God. And that's what I want you to know today, that God loves you. He loves you so much that he gave Jesus, his one and only Son, who died on a cross for you so that you could know it for sure, that you are dearly, dearly precious to him.